Hi, everyone. Welcome to Girl Scouts of Silver Sage. This is Kim Ross and Kim Huson. We are here sharing with you our cookie resources with our Girl Scout cookie program and our fall product program. Lots of resources to share with you today. And on our agenda, I will share with you that we've got things here for you, some that we've created and some that have been created by either Girl Scouts of the USA or some of our vendors. These include our Girl Scouts of Silver Sage website. We have a fall product homepage as well as our very own cookie branded homepage called Cookie Central. Then we also have a cookie updates and FAQ page that we present to you on a Google Doc to give you up to the minute information that you need on everything related to our cookie program. Then we also have resources within our volunteer toolkit, which is also known as VTK. And then we have not only Silver Sage customer care, but then customer care of some of our vendors and partners as well. Kim, would you like to share our website with everyone?
Sure. So do you see on the screen, we have our Girl Scouts of Silver Sage website. I am not actually sharing the actual website. These are screenshots that I took from the site. So they aren't as, I guess, intuitive as they could be. But on our website, let me switch to laser pointer. You'll see we have our Girl Scouts retail shop. And then we have our MyGS. MyGS is where I know we've mentioned it in a few of our videos. This is where you log in to join a summer camp or to add a badge workshop to an event you want to go to. This is also where you manage your household and or your troop if you are a troop leader. This is also where you access the VTK, and that's MyGS will come into play when we go to talk about the VTK section, but this is where you would find it. So anytime we say, oh, hey, log into your MyGS to renew your Girl Scout membership, this is where we're telling you to go. We also have our events calendar. When you go to our events calendar, you will see all of the different events that we are hosting as a council. You may even see some of the events that our service units are hosting as we try to get more and more of those on the calendar for you guys. And these, I believe they recently updated these. So all these events are now color coded. So you see a different color for something that is being put on in Idaho Falls or in Pocatello or in Twin Falls or in the Treasure Valley. So each one is a different color now, and to easily be able to identify the ones that are in your local area. Also with the events, when you click on an event and you want to register, you will then have to log into MyGS if you're trying to register through the website. Also featured here is a search bar. So if you are trying to find a specific event, or you're trying to find the Cookie Central page, or you're trying to find where you would enter a 5 for 5 number for that contest, you can use the little search bar to find that spot and you search that term. And the search bar is very helpful. You sometimes get more than what you're looking for and you kind of have to filter through it, but it's really helpful in trying to find exactly what you're looking for. And then we have our cookies page, or the cookies with the drop down. This is all based on the computer version of the website. If you're looking at the mobile version, all of these will be in a little 3-bar menu in the top right-hand corner of your screen. Had to think about that for a second. Next, we have the member section. And I wanted to highlight the member section because if you do go to that drop down, one of the important things that is in this member section is the forms and documents section. I think it's like somewhere right in the middle it says like under troop volunteers. And that is the section where you would find the paperwork on how to open your bank account, how to change a bank signer, the safety activity checkpoints for a badge, the travel request forms. So when your troop decides, hey, we want to go camping and we want to go to Hell's Canyon for a camping trip, and how do we do that? And then all of those documents that you would need to submit to council in order to take that trip are in that forms and documents section. And I know we referenced it a few times in a few of our previous videos, so this is where you would find that. Okay, last thing on this I wanted to highlight is our little chat bubble down here in the bottom corner. During our customer service hours, this chat bubble will connect you with our amazing customer care team, and they will actively be interacting with you and answering those questions. If you happen to use the chat bubble outside of their normal business hours for our customer care, it will send them an email that just said, hey, you had a chat question, and then they can answer it when they get back into the office the following day. So for the cookie section of our website, when you just hover over that little drop down arrow, you end up getting this page. The top bar turns white, and these are the different options that you see. So for the fall product homepage, you would click on fall product. I also want to call out here that our service unit contract and our troop fall product manager contract are underneath that drop down as well. And then additionally, that will be the same for the cookie program. And although the cookie one right now is still our 2025 contracts, so they're not going to help you out in the 2026 program. But those will be updated in the next month or so to the 2026 contracts. Okay, so clicking on that fall product, this brings you to the fall product homepage. And so it gives you a little bit about the program. And then when we scroll down to the bottom, this is the important part here, is these fall product resources. So you have all of the training materials and links to the videos. In the forms and tools section, you have access to the parent guide, which is that like 2-pager that has the personalized patches on it. And it explains to the parents how they can log into the website and things like that. I think there's another copy of the troop manual or the troop guide in there. And what other fun tools do we have for full product? So it also, in the product section, there is a copy of the order form. So if for whatever reason you were not able to get any of those physical pieces of paper to start your troop from your fall product, your service unit fall product manager, they are all available here in either the training, the forms and tools, or the product section. Additionally, we usually add in some fun games and activities. Our vendor partners will come out with some coloring sheets, maybe a word search. For fall product, they usually have a fact sheet about our mascot. So there's a fact sheet in here about grizzly bears. And then there is also a copy of what rewards the girls can earn. Additionally, down at the bottom here, there is a link to these Cookie Bite videos. So if you are ever wondering where you go to find them, they are linked on our fall product and our Cookie Central pages. Okay, coming back to Cookie Central, there are a couple ways you can get there. Again, hovering over that drop down on your computer. If you were to be on a mobile device, you can just click on cookies and it'll bring up this menu here. You might have to scroll down a bit to find all of the different things, but it is all in there. So you can either click on Cookie Central for cookie volunteers, or just the cookies link up at the top, and it will take you to Cookie Central, which is our council's cookie homepage. On our cookie page right now, we do have a note saying if you're looking for fall product, click here, just in case you do accidentally click on the cookies page, but that wasn't what you were looking for. So new updates for the 2026 program should be coming sometime around November 1st. We're working on finalizing all of that information and getting that put together so it can go up on the website for you guys. Again, there's a link to these Cookie Bite videos. And again, more importantly, when we scroll down, we see all of our different resources. So there is a link to our digital troop guide, which all of our troop guides for the cookie program for 2026 are going to be digital. It will all be found here on this website. So you'll have access to the troop guide. Then there is a calendar schedule. Again, this is a Google page. It was last year, it will be again this year. That just has all of our dates. And as those dates pass, we highlight them in a darker color. So that way, you know that that event has passed. You can just go to where it's illuminated in white again and continue to the next thing that is coming up. Also new last year, we added a guide for digital cookie and for smart cookies. The digital cookie guide goes through how to use digital cookie at the troop level, at the girl level, and then it even goes through as a customer level and how to use it on the mobile app, because the mobile app does look a little different than the web-based version. But you need to use both the web-based version in order to use the mobile app. So digital cookie is meant to be used on the computer or on the web, the desktop version through a mobile device. And then for our troop leaders, our troop cookie managers and our service unit cookie managers, there is a guide to smart cookies. This guide was designed by ABC, and I think I just tweaked it and I put it into Canva so that it was a little easier to kind of look through. And this guide, it is everything you need to know about smart cookies. How to put in the booth information, how to transfer cookies from one girl to another. You have a question about smart cookies, it's in this guide, and they do an amazing job going through and making sure that you know exactly what you need when you need it. So all of that is in there. We also then will have a link to our YouTube channel for our just-in-time trainings. Those come out every couple of weeks right before you're going to need that information. Because we know that in our main training that we'll be hosting in December, it's a little early to be talking about how to enter your cookie booth information when that's not going to happen until February. So a couple weeks before that first booth comes out, we'll go through and do a just-in-time training on, hey, this is how you're going to go through and enter all of those booth cookies once you've had a booth. That way it can be kind of at the front of mind rather than thinking back, 2 months to the original training on how do I do that again? I don't even remember. So that is linked on there. There's also a drop down for smart cookies and ABC Bakers. This also includes ABC Bakers Flickr page, which they have a bunch of graphics and things that you guys can put on social media. And it's just, their design team is phenomenal, and their Flickr page has some great stuff on it. I think there's also a link to a Giphies page so that you can have little animations as well. And then there's a section in here for digital cookie. So it will link also this digital cookie guide that is up at the top, but then also has a link to the digital cookie tip sheets that were created by Girl Scouts USA's digital cookie team. And again, those are amazing resources. They walk you through exactly what you need. But all of those tip sheets are available in Digital Cookie itself when you have to click on that I need help button. That was something new that they added last year. That was just fantastic. So then we've got the forms and tools section, which I will highlight again on the next page. It's got some great stuff in it. We've got a little section about cookie booths and cookie cupboards. Included in that cookie booth and cookie cupboard section is a page that explains different details about our cookie cupboards. So maybe your closest cookie cupboard is in Nampa and they have it at a storage facility and you need a gate code in order to get in. That gate code will be listed there in those cookie details. Also in the cookie booth section is a document that I believe is created in Google Sheets, but you can download into Excel if that's your preferred method of using it. And it helps to figure out how many cookies you need to order for each of your cookie booths. And then it'll also allow you to track cookies from your cookie booths for each of your girls. So that's a great tracking tool that is in that section also. There's also some cookie booth inventory tracking in there. And so some great tools for your cookie booths in that section. Again, we have an activities and coloring pages section. There is a section that kind of talks about the rewards, and then a link to that detailed cookie rewards document that we talked about in the rewards cookie bite. And then the bottom one is a link to the information about our family entrepreneurship PIN requirements. So each level will be in there. And I want to say that the Daisy level is also available in Spanish. The Brownie level might also be available in Spanish as well. I cannot remember. I know they were working on translating some of those, they being GSUSA, and I don't remember how far they got. So I know the Daisy one is translated. The Brownie one might be as well. But clicking on that.
Before we get too far, I did want to add something, and that is that volunteers and families, if there is a tool or a resource that you do not see here on this page, either in one of the drop downs or a link somewhere else on this page, please let us know. If you have a need, we will do our very best to fill it, whether we find a resource elsewhere. We may not be able to build every single thing that each individual requests, but please do use the contact information on our final slide for customer care and make those suggestions or recommendations. We are our input is only as good as the input that you give us, and so we would love to help, even if it's just to tweak a tool or something like that. We're happy to do that. We just are dependent on your feedback to make sure we have what you need.
Yes. And sneak peek, I am creating a document with a bunch of QR codes on it that'll be displayed at our Super Saturday events. And it has, again, a bunch of QR codes. So it'll have a QR code to the FAQ page. It'll have one to Cookie Central. It'll have it to Digital Cookie. If I thought a QR code would be helpful to either a troop leader or a parent, it'll be on that document. I think I have like 12 or 13 so far that are going to be on there. So something like that is coming also because it was a suggestion and requested. So on to that forms and tools section. The very first thing you'll see in here is our cookie program and updates FAQ page. But this forms and tools section also has a bunch of other things, like we call them dot sheets. It is just a 8x10 piece of paper with a bunch of dots on it that helps to identify what cookies you're distributing to your girls or volunteers. These are typically used at the initial order by our service units. Maybe in lieu of writing a receipt, they'll have this, and then they'll sign it at the bottom saying that these are the cookies that I received. We do encourage the receipts. We feel the receipts are irreplaceable and they should be utilized at every moment that they possibly can, because they not only tell you what you're collecting, but they do have a financial responsibility clause on them that says that whatever is on this receipt that I am accepting, I am now financially responsible for. Then we've got some cookie booth checklists. The digital tracking workbook is also available in the forms and tools section. And then there's some fun things for the girls, like the door hanger, the full cookie lineup that she could print off to have at her booth. Here's another link to that Giphy channel for any of your social media marketing that you might want to use. The Giphies are cute little like animations that can be added to a social media post. There is a link for the inserts for the lanyards, which will also be available at cookie rallies when you get to a cookie rally. So this is a little insert that on one side has your cookie menu, and on the other side has a cheat sheet for how to count by 6. So you can kind of be like, okay, if I have a customer who's ordering 12 packages of cookies, I go down to my 12, and that's how much they're going to be charged for those 12 packages of cookies. So it's a little cheat sheet for some of those younger girls or some of the girls who struggle with math skills. Just kind of an easy way for them to help, or a tool for them to help improve those skills. And then there was also a link to some thank you cards. I do believe these were ones that were created by our baker partners. So they are very generic, but also adorable. And if it's available for you, if you wanted to print those out and provide them to your customers. So clicking on that program and updates FAQ page, it takes us here. So this is displaying last year's FAQ page. The same link, however, will take you to the 2026 page once that's been created. And you'll know it's the 2026 page, so we'll update that mascot to our adorable little black-footed ferret. And it'll say 2026 cookie program updates and FAQs. Each time we add to this document, this is something that happens in real time. So sometimes you might log into it at a time where we are making edits or changes. And you might see that something is pending or is highlighted in yellow, or, you know, is in the process of being typed out as you're looking at it. So we might be making changes because it is a live document. But each time we will put a date on it, and then we will add whatever the update is. So as displayed here, just happens to be our true proceeds correction that happened back in July. But every item that we feel that you need to be updated on, maybe 1 week we get 4 or 5 questions into our customer care queue that are all about how to log into Digital Cookie. So if we get the same question multiple times, we will add it to this FAQ page and just be like, hey, we made some updates, and this document does get updated pretty frequently, if not once a week, sometimes more frequently than once a week. But as we need to get information to you quickly, this is what we have found to be one of the fastest ways to do so. Okay. Next part we're going to go into is that volunteer toolkit. And I'm going to do this from the perspective of setting up a meeting for a cookie patch or badge. So again, in order to get here, you are going to click on MyGS from the homepage. You will log in using the email that you provided to council when you initially registered for Girl Scouts. If you have never logged into MyGS before, you might have to reset your password. And it does offer that right below the login section of like, I forgot my password. So once you've logged in, on the left-hand side, you'll see a whole menu of things, including like view my household, view my troop. But the one we're interested in for this is the volunteer toolkit, which looks like what is displayed on the other side of the slide. So in the volunteer toolkit, you can see information about your troop. You can take a look at different badges, which will then lead into the year plan. From the year plan, you can go directly into meeting plans. Then there are different resources to help. And also there's a finance section. So when your troop volunteers at the end of the year have to submit their annual report, just kind of going over how much the troop has earned, what the troop has spent, what is currently left in their bank accounts. This is where they submit that, is here in the VTK. So we are going to take a look, and I did this as a demo site, so no troop information is actually included in here. But we're going to look at is if we are multi-level, and we're going to click on explore meeting plans. So in here, I just did a search for cookie, so that way I'm getting all of our different potential cookie badges. So I'm just going to assume I have Ambassador Scouts. These are the top ones right here. And I am going to click on the little boxes to select those. And then you can see when I clicked on that first one, this section here turned white and green. So now I can add them to my year plan. So I will click to add them to my year plan. And then that takes me over to the year plan section. So in the year plan, you can manage your calendar and you can change the date. You can put, if you've got a multi-level troop, you can add meetings onto the same date, into the same meeting. If you're working on like one batch for daisies, one batch for brownies, they happen to coincide and they're the same like concept, but a little bit different. Like if you're working on your animal badges and you're working on them at the same time, you can add your animal, it's not animal helpers, that's cadets. But you can add your animals badge for your daisies, your animals badge for your brownies, into the same meeting plan. You can arrange your meetings by dragging and changing the order of what meeting comes first. And then you can click on that add badge or journey section to add another patch or badge in addition to the ones you've already chosen. So next part I'm going to click into is the My Cookie Business Resume 1. So the way the VTK works is you have already set up under the My Troop section how long your meetings are, how often your troop meets, whether you meet monthly, bi-monthly, every week. You set that up in the My Troop section. You say how long you meet for. Do you meet for an hour and a half, for 2 hours? And then the VTK will build that meeting plan for you. And we would do that by clicking into your meeting here. So we're going to click in our meeting. And so now it is going to display my meeting. I can add a meeting location, and this does show to all of my troop members. So if I change a meeting location, it is displayed in this meeting for my troop. How many troops use it this way? I'm not sure, but it is available. It is an option. And it's actually pretty fantastic the way it lays it all out for you. So in here, it tells us what our badge steps are that we'll be working on for this badge. And then when I scroll down, it will tell me like here's where I can go to purchase the badge through the GSUSA website. If you want to purchase it through either the Silver Sage website or walk into the store to do that, you're better off going back to the Girl Scout homepage and clicking on the shop section to purchase it directly from the Silver Sage shop. And then for over here, we've got our Cookie Business Resume booklet. So I can download the booklet. They used to be called badge booklets, but they are now all available to download through the VTK. So you don't need to purchase them. You can, if you want a physical copy of the booklet, you could purchase it, but it is free to download through the VTK. Then underneath there, it gives me all of my planning materials. I can manage communications to my troops. I can send a reminder. I can send a follow-up email. There's even an option, it says send a speaker invitation. So it's just a like pre-written email that is inviting somebody to be a guest speaker to my meeting. I can record attendance and which girls have met those achievements that we worked on in this meeting. So that way it helps me track what girls have earned what badges. And then in the planning materials, it'll give me a overview of the badge work. It'll give me an overview for the meeting, which will also be down below, and I'll scroll down to that in a second. And then it gives a detailed meeting plan, a materials list. If I have to plan this meeting virtually, it gives me a meeting plan for that too. So in the meeting planner, it does break this down. So these meetings are 2 hours. So it explains, here's what I'm going to do for my opening ceremony. And then if I were to click on the drop down or click on arrival and opening ceremony, it's going to give me some ideas on what to do in that opening ceremony. And you can take those or leave those. If you've got, I mean, this is an ambassador badge, so I'm sure you've got a system already for arrival and opening by the time that they're ambassadors. But if you are a Daisy or Brownie leader and you're still kind of struggling to figure out what's going to work best for the arrival and opening, the VTK has ideas for you. Then it sets out 40 minutes to do our first activity, and I would need to select which item I'm using to fulfill that step. Are we going to do an exploration? Are we going to discover new ideas, or are we going to do some feedback? So I would click into that, and then it would give me details on how to do that activity. Same thing with the next section. I have to figure out, did I get a college or job recruiter to come to my meeting? If I did, I'll click on that first one, and it'll give me step by step what I need to do for that activity. And one of the great things about the VTK is it does give you, if this is a topic I am not sure of, like say maybe we're working on robotics and I am not that good at robotics, it would tell me, hey, the girls might ask you this question. You can respond with this. Then they might ask you this question and you could respond with this. And it gives you some ideas on what you can talk about. If you're not able to find an expert to come in to, help talk to the girls, or if you're not able to, get a YouTube video of somebody talking about an activity or a concept that they're learning about. It gives you a lot of that information already in the meeting plan steps. And then it gives us time for a closing ceremony and to follow up with the families. Because with this activity, they're writing a resume. They might have to continue this activity on another day. We're going to continue it in the next meeting. So we'll have to follow up with the families and just let them know what's going on, and that, the girls do have a little bit of something that they have to work on at home. So after that, I can choose to add something to my meeting. Maybe I don't like the steps that they gave me, and maybe I wanted to add a friendship circle in there. So I can go in, I can add into my meeting to do the friendship circle. Or maybe I wanted them to upload a copy of the resume that they're creating to a Google Drive file so that we can edit and adjust them as the girls need. And so maybe I want to add that step to my meeting. It will also have meeting aids. So if in the badge booklet, it says, use this template to create a resume, the template is going to be in the meeting aids. I know that I think there's one for the Brownie Senses badge where it talks about doing something in American Sign Language. And so in the meeting aid section, it has the American Sign Language alphabet as one of the meeting aids. So they also have some additional resources. So maybe I want to add in a game or something to make it just a little bit less like school. Maybe we want to make it a little more fun. So we can add in a digital game. And here, because we are talking about their cookie business and the marketing, online tips for online marketing, Girl Scout cookie FAQs, and different additional resources that I might be able to use when planning this meeting. So VTK, it's not, again, the most intuitive resource, but it is a fantastic resource to utilize when trying to make those meeting plans, and it helps make it just a little bit easier on you as the leader. Additionally, with the VTK, caregivers do have access to it. They can only, a caregiver who is not a troop volunteer can only see what the volunteer has put into it. So if the volunteer has set up all of their meetings and everything, they can go in and they can see what is scheduled. They can see the materials that are needed. They can see the activities that are going on at that badge or that meeting. But in order for maybe a girl to do a badge outside of a meeting, and if her parents want that badge material, you can get it from the VTK, but the troop leader has to add it to their year plan in order for that parent to be able to access the material. Also, parents and caregivers can only access the VTK if the troop leader has set it up. So even troop leaders, if you just go in, you set it up, you throw one badge or one meeting on there, then parents can go in and they can see the different things in the VTK. Other customer care that is available for you guys. So if you have questions about full product, you can ask through M2 at support.gsnutsandmags.com, or there's also a phone number you can call. And these are if you have questions on the fall product system, if you have any questions about your order, and they might need to redirect you to either the chocolate vendor or Bark or a magazine vendor, depending on what your question is and what you're trying to figure out about your order. In the center there, we have our baker partners. So we have ABC Bakers. They have two different customer service lines, one customer service line for the phone, but two different emails. One is for their cookie tech support. So this is any help that you might need for the Smart Cookies system. You can get to through their tech support email. Or if you have any questions about nutrition, about the cookies, about ingredients that go in them, that is through their ABC Smart Cookie Bakers email. So just a couple of different emails depending on what your question is. And then we have Digital Cookie, and Digital Cookie does their customer service completely different than the other two, in that you have to go to the Digital Cookie website to get into the contact us section or the I need help section. They do have an FAQ page that answers a lot of the questions you might already have. Same with their tip sheets. And possibly their answer to you is going to be to just send you a tip sheet going, hey, did you try to walk through these steps first? Additionally, with the Digital Cookie site, when you go in to ask for help with, I can't log into my Digital Cookie site, or I'm having a problem with an order, on their contact us section of their webpage, they have different like links. So if you've got a question about your order, you're going to click on the I need help with my order link, and it's going to send an email to their customer service section that deals with customer orders. If you have a question about logging into Digital Cookie, it is going to send it to a team that deals with registration and logging into the Digital Cookie site. If you are a parent and you're like, why is my child's numbers not updating in the Digital Cookie system, they have a different section of customer care that deals with those questions specifically. So their customer care teams are trained, because they're only there for a short number of weeks. They are trained to be a specialist in a certain topic. So if you go in there initially with a question about how to log into Digital Cookie, and then as you're troubleshooting that with them, ask a question about one of your cookie orders, they're going to have to send that to a different department because that is not their specialty topic. So Digital Cookie does it a little different, but the way they do it really works for their system. Kim, anything else on customer care from our vendors?
Not for customer care for our vendors, but I do have something to share, and that is that, my goodness, there are a lot of resources that Kim and I have put together for you, that are different vendors and GSUSA has put together for you. And there is a whole other facet of resources for you, and that would be people. Troop leaders and troop volunteers have each other. They have their service unit cookie manager. They can reach them on band. And then there also are other resources. For example, if you were to use Pinterest or Facebook, the thing that Kim and I would caution you on is that almost every question is council dependent. Every facet of cookies and fall products, from, what are your rewards structures to how much does my troop earn in proceeds, those things are all council dependent. So while we certainly encourage you to get inspiration and ideas elsewhere, if you have questions specific to any of the programs, it's probably best to have us answer that question. So the main customer care slide that she's going to show, which is right here, is to reach us at our customer care 208-377-2011 or via email, or as Kim mentioned at the beginning, there are those 3 dots on our webpage that let you kind of chat real time if they're available. Again, lots of council dependent things, and it's better to just ask and be sure. And that way, again, it's another resource for us to know that it's something that maybe we need to push out to folks as well, either on the band or on our FAQ page or something like that.
Yeah, I know one of the recent questions that I've seen on some troop leader pages on Facebook is, can a girl be in multiple troops at the same time? And that is very council specific. Some councils say yes, and some councils say no. But a lot of those groups are nationwide. So what we might say is acceptable in Silver Sage may not be acceptable in nation's capital. It may not be acceptable in greater New York. And additionally, especially when it comes to cookies and full product, based on where they're located, things are completely different. Our cookie, our variety mix is completely different than it is in the Chicagoland area. I happen to have friends with girls that are out that way, and I've seen pictures of their girls sitting at a booth, and they have piles of the peanut butter sandwich cookies. And if we had a pile that big, that would be my pile for the entire cookie program. They sell differently depending on what the likes are for those areas. Additionally, the number of cookies sold per booth is going to vary depending on if you're in a large metro or if you're in a more rural area. Even across our council is going to be different if you're in a more metro area versus a rural area. But it's really different when you're talking about San Francisco or New York City. Like a girl at what booth there might sell twice as many packages as a girl would here in Boise and Meridian. So those are all things that it's great collective information, but just knowing that the little details are going to be different for every council. Even some of the requirements of like how many parents have to be at a booth are different from one council to another. And so just knowing that all those things are very different, they are very council dependent. And if you can't find an answer through somebody from our council, we do actually have a parents and cookie volunteers page for our Girl Scouts of Silver Sage families. And you are welcome to join that on Facebook. And so if you're not able to connect with somebody from our council, definitely come to customer care and get the answer from somebody here rather than somebody who's going to give you their council's information, which may or may not be the same. And finally, thank you for joining us. We appreciate you being here and everything that you do for Girl Scouts.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, everyone. We appreciate you.
Bye.